My friends, God Almighty is speaking, and He's speaking through current events. And the current events are the headlines, that's the thunder, but the voice is within the thunder. Now, I know that you guys know this, and nobody probably knows it any better than my friend, Brother Lance Wallnau. He's here with me right now. Wow, Lance.
I love the voices within the thunder.
Yes,
Steve
sir.
Bannon says you got to separate the signal from the noise.
There you go.
Like in a submarine, they're trying to throw you off with all these little noise things in order to keep you from finding where the sub is actually located. So prophetically, there's
Yes.
the challenge, right?
Yes, sir.
It's discerning in a world of clickbait, in a world of sensational headlines, in a world of distraction, how to actually capture that slipstream of what God's saying and doing. That's a task, isn't it?
It is a task. You know, those things are hidden, but they can actually be looked into. You can find it if your heart is into that, you know, and if you, this is a day, though, that we have to press in. We have to be consecrated.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question. You
Yes,
do
sir.
analysis of, like, the eclipses, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I've watched your doing that. Like, you're part of my distraction. So then when the eclipses happen, what does Troy say? So now we have 7 planets aligning.
Yes.
So I thought, I wonder if Troy has something on it because it's a rare cosmic thing to
Yes.
have the alignment of the
Yes.
stars and the planets. And I looked it up on superficially
Yes.
in Google, and it said no. There's astrology, and then there's astronomy.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not astrology. This is astronomy. So real quick, you tell me.
The
what's
heavens
your take
declare
on
the
it?
glory of God. The firmament shows His handiwork, right? The heavens declare the glory of God. The heavens declare the glory of God. There will be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. Those are the words of Jesus. Now that I've said all that, if you go back to the day that Roe v. Wade was overturned, there was not only a planetary alignment, there was a planetary parade that was taking place. Does not happen very often. And the difference between a planetary alignment and planetary parade is that it's the sun, it's Mercury, it's Venus, it's the moon, it is Mars, it's Jupiter, and it's Saturn. And you can see it all in the exact sequence that it's supposed to be. I got up early that morning, went outside and said, God, what amazing thing are you going to do today? In the month of parades, in the month of Pride Month.
Oh, stop it.
Yes,
June.
sir. God Almighty had His own parade. Okay, fast forward. When was the next planetary alignment? It was January the 20th in the year 2025.
Really?
That was the next planetary alignment.
I told you. I knew if I asked him, I'd find something out.
And not only was President Trump, not only was he anointed as the President of the United States, the president of Planned Parenthood passed away that day. So you have the same thing that went with the last planetary alignment. And I want to tell you right now what I see everything prophetically. I mean, when the President of the United States rises up and when the President of Planned Parenthood literally dies and there's a planetary alignment that day, I think it's pretty evident what God Almighty's saying. So it's about to happen again.
Some significant event.
It's a very significant event.
I mean, you're thinking something's going to happen within the window this recent? Because I'm saying the planetary alignment was just like 24 hours ago or something. Just
Yes.
a new one.
It's a new one.
It doesn't happen all the time, but it's happening on these.
There's a lot of it going on because God Almighty is setting things in order. And there's no greater demonstration in the heavens than when things line up the way that they're supposed to
All right,
line up.
So I know we got a short broadcast today. I want to share something with you. I'm going to go back to Israel on Friday, or day after tomorrow.
Yep.
And when I go back, and I wasn't planning on going, but I'm going because of a political meeting.
Okay.
But I want to say this. The last time I was there was 2 weeks before Gaza was struck by Hamas. And I was on the steps preaching in Jerusalem. And the Lord said, it's my desires. This would have been like, right before the election. My desire that Donald Trump be. And I thought, well, I'm coming to Israel to hear God talk. It's a strange thing. I'm fighting in America electorally. I go to Israel and get an update. I don't know why that happens.
Yeah.
It could happen in Guatemala or someplace else. I hear more about America when I'm not in America. So the Lord says, my will that Donald Trump be president of the United States. Then the second part of the sentence blew my mind because he's about MAGA, Make America Great Again. That's his whole focus. The second part was, for the sake of the nations. I stepped back and I said, wait, that doesn't make any sense. His focus is America. America needs him. And the Lord said, America's not the focus. I'm looking at the nations.
Come on.
So I would suggest that the planetary alignment is going to be the beginning of the alignment of what I'll call sheep nations. So now you're seeing El Salvador, and Argentina working with the United States. Why? Because they are coming under Cyrus-type rulers who are bringing their nations into the orbit of nations that are going to align for sovereignty. They will push back on assimilation into the global network.
Excellent.
From Davos to Communist China. There's a bigger signal going on, and that is that God is now aligning. So I believe we're in a season when doors are going to open to the emerging sheep nations, or nations that'll be the most resistant to assimilation. And it'll be the time of harvest. We had years of thinking about a billion-soul harvest, but we were kind of shallow on politics because it's like not our thing. Right. Separation of church and state. But reality, governments and the kingdom are the two subject matters of the book of Revelation. Your kings align for and against, your Antichrist, your system of alignment.
So good.
And the kings that he rules. This is the hour when, for the sake of the nations, God is putting a pause on darkness and saying the door is open, the planets are aligned, go thread the needle. I'm opening up Hungary, Poland, Slovakia. I'm resetting politically. Germany and England is going to have a reset in 2 years. And these are Reformation resets, populist nationalism. Nationalism meaning we have our own identity, we want it to be retained, and if Christianity goes into those nations, or there's a reviving of Christian faith in those nations, they'll have, like the United States, a battle with Reformation, but they'll reclaim the gates and the walls of their country.
That's amazing.
It's for real, right?
It is for real. Hey, man, if you had a dream, and if somebody said in a dream, it was as if the planets lined up, we would know what that means. It means that everything comes into order.
Yeah.
Right? And it was talking about heavenly order because it's in the heavens. Right on? But this is not a dream. This is the headlines.
Right.
And so we have to be able to look at that and go, okay, I discern the voice of the Lord that's within that. Well, I want to tell you, man, a great big part of us actually understanding and our willingness to be involved on political levels throughout the world has been because of your bravery. And we were like, you know what? Look at that. We should be doing that as well.
Yeah.
And a bunch of us had jumped in a big way like what we had not before. I'll have to tell you about it later on.
I want to hear it.
But I agree, 10,000%. And we're getting lined up with attorney generals all over the planet Earth to take on trafficking. And it's happening. And the momentum is changing, and we're supporting those attorney generals on state levels and also on national levels, literally throughout the world, to say, will you take on trafficking? And then we're actually working with them to help them with what specific army they use to help in that. And then when we're wiping out trafficking in entire territories throughout the world.
I'm telling you, man, with Dan Bongino being assigned as Deputy Director of the FBI, along with Kash Patel, along with Pam Bondi.
Yes.
Along with the ICE director, there's no place to hide. Tom Holman, yeah. Yep. So there's no place to hide. It's not like we've had before, where you've got your deep state pocket of weirdness, like they're not cooperating, they're stonewalling. You don't have that. With Trump, you have the planets aligned. You have them all lined up.
Yes, sir.
So I think you're going to see unprecedented success.
Guys, I'm talking to my good friend, Lance Wallnau. Now, when I say he's my good friend, I have been a good friend to him for years and years, and he doesn't even know me.
And we've been in the same orbit.
We've been in the same orbit
all the time. I hear my staff, my producer, my daughter-in-law, my wife.
Yeah, I love your wife. She's so awesome. And then, man, your daughter-in-law is a very good friend of mine, and anyway, her first cousin is our children's director in our church, and so she's always there, and we all kind of cross-pollinate. I want to tell you, brother, it's a great privilege to have you with me, sir. God bless you. God bless you so much. How do people find you?
LanceWallnau.com. Just go there, and there's always some strange teaching I've got out there on what's going on in the world. Grab it.
You've had a profound effect upon all of us, man, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you, brother.
Friends, I'm going to show you one of our latest rescue stories. Now, you guys know these stories. This is what you and I partner to do in order to take on hell with the water pistol. Watch this. So when we first rescued Naomi, she's just a 15-year-old hobbit. She has been a slave since she was 11 years old. She saw and she witnessed the murder of her father right in front of her. They came into her home, burned her house down, murdered her father, and sent her mama off into sexual slavery one direction and sent her as an 11-year-old off into sexual slavery into another direction. And because she's about to have a baby and they didn't want to have to take care of the baby. The cartel had let her out and just said, swim the river. She was pulled out of the Rio Grande, trying to cross the river, literally 9 months pregnant. She was drowning. She couldn't swim. She's so pregnant, she could not swim. So we had her, and I looked that little girl in the eye and I told her, I said, today's a different day for you. You hit the jackpot on being rescued at a time where I'm actually visiting one of our rescue homes. And you're good. I said, I'm your Papa Troy, and I'm gonna take care of you. I'm so sorry that you saw what happened to your daddy. I'm so sorry for what's happened to you over the past 4 years. But things are very different. You're gonna have this baby. We're gonna pay for you to go to a nice clinic. And so I told Swanami, look, this one's mine. I wanna take care of her. I want her to have special treatment. She's come out of something really, really, really bad. She said, okay. Swanami called down a few days later, and to our horror, we found out that yes, she had had the baby, everything was fine, but a different government agency had come in and separated the baby from her because they weren't convinced that she could take care of her baby. Well, she couldn't outside of us. My heart was so broken because I promised that little girl nothing bad was gonna happen. And something bad did happen. So then we had to find her, and then we had to find her baby. Swanami is so awesome. She actually found the girl, found the baby, and got the little girl reunited with her baby. I didn't think I was ever gonna see her again because she lives 18 hours away from the border now. And she rode on a bus 18 hours, a 15-year-old child with a 3-month-old baby, 18 hours on a bus. And we're like, you ain't doing that anymore. And so we're changing all that. When that little girl walked in holding that baby, I couldn't believe it. It was crazy cool.